Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, dangerous heat and flooding right now. Summer scorcher. Millions on alert as temperatures soar into the triple digits. And the rip current dangers after a deadly weekend at the beach.
Flooding emergency in the Midwest. Rivers at record levels after days of heavy rain, leaving neighborhoods underwater and forcing hundreds from their homes.
Countdown to the debate. President Biden prepping at Camp David. Trump out on the trail, telling supporters he has no debate strategy as they both prepare to head to Atlanta.
New details on the mass shooting at a small-town grocery store in Arkansas that left 4 people dead and nearly a dozen wounded. The investigation this morning.
Deadly shark attack. A lifeguard killed in the water off Hawaii. What we know this morning.
Justin Timberlake breaks his silence.
I know sometimes I'm hard to love, but you keep on loving me and I love you.
Back on the stage for the first time since being arrested on a DWI charge. What he said about the incident.
Back home. The American father arrested in Turks and Caicos for carrying ammunition, reunited with his family, speaking about his ordeal this morning in an ABC News exclusive.
Fiery crash. Racing champion John Force hospitalized after an engine explosion led to a high-speed wreck. What we know about his condition.
Cracking down on porch pirates.
All right, package is dropped. We're good.
I went for a ride-along for an exclusive look at how one police department is taking them on and why it's so important to the community.
'Cause I can do it with a broken heart.
Plus, Taylor Swift's Kelsey era, the moment Travis took the stage in London after the couple snapped a selfie with the Royals, how you can still go to the show across the pond without breaking the bank, and from Taylor Mania to Pandemonium.
This is Bali.
Janae is in China as panda bears get ready to take the long journey to the U.S.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
Oh, what a great assignment for Janae. So fantastic. Good morning, America. Hope you all had a good weekend.
Yes, happy Monday. And we have a lot to get to on this Monday, including a health alert for women this morning, sounding the alarm on the gender gap in heart health, how to spot the warning signs and lower your risk of heart disease. We have an exclusive look at a new report.
An important story there, but first we do begin here with the dangerous heat alert for more than 60 million from coast to coast, with temperatures in the triple digits in some places.
Many people heading to the beach to cool down amid these high temperatures, but authorities are warning about deadly rip currents along the East Coast. We're going to be with Ariel Reshef at Rockaway Beach here in New York. Good morning, Ariel.
Hey, good morning to you, George. As you mentioned, millions dealing with that scorching heat and many seeking that reprieve at beaches like this one. But I want to show you this water is already extremely choppy. It is windy out here. Officials are warning of a high risk for rip currents all along the Atlantic and in the Gulf. This morning, more than 60 million people across the country under heat alerts.
The heat is just unimaginable.
This heat dome has been scorching the country for 7 days and counting, hitting cities coast to coast with blistering temperatures in the upper 90s and 100s.
I'm coming here to cool off because it's super duper hot out.
In Washington, D.C., temperatures climbing to 100 degrees on Saturday, the first time it's been that hot in June since 2012. Many flocking to beaches, but officials warning about rip currents along the East Coast. Nearly 70 swimmers were rescued from dangerous rip currents at North Carolina beaches this past week. A couple from Pennsylvania, 51-year-old Brian Warder and 48-year-old Erica Wishard, tragically drowned last Thursday, swept away by a rip current while on vacation with their children in Florida. The sheriff's office saying 2 of their teenage kids were able to escape, trying to rescue their parents, but forced to swim ashore after it became too dangerous. In New York, a desperate search over the weekend for 2 missing teens swallowed by a large wave in Queens.
Just had access to the water for an hour tops, and then the lifeguards told us to come out.
The mother of one of the teens, 16-year-old Elijah Chandler, rushed to the beach when she got the call. The Coast Guard announcing that the search has been suspended, sending prayers to the victims and families.
And 80% of lifeguard rescues are due to rip currents. Experts say try to be proactive, check the alerts in your local area, and be sure to heed any warnings from officials. Rebecca?
Yes, absolutely. Pay attention to those warnings. Ariel Reshef. Thanks, Ariel. We turn now to the catastrophic flooding in the Midwest. Heavy rain has rivers at record levels, forcing evacuations and leaving streets and homes flooded. Melissa Adan is in Waterville, Minnesota. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Rebecca. We're talking about communities under several feet of water across the Midwest. Here in Waterville, Minnesota, we want to show you here this neighborhood here. Residents have been forced to evacuate their homes. They're told they may not be able to return home for at least another week. This, of course, is just one example of one state across the Midwest facing these dangerous floods. Over in South Dakota, the governor there declaring that one person has died from these floods. Meantime, in Iowa, there is a state of emergency there following the foot officials. They are calling severe and widespread destruction. Overnight, a train bridge collapsing into the Big Sioux River due to the flooding, several trusses submerged. Now, these are historic floods, major rivers cresting, some 4 feet higher than previous records, nearly 2,000 properties impacted, and talking about hundreds of homes destroyed, some cities without power, and even some without drinkable water. All this because late last week, some areas saw up to 15 inches of rain over 2 days. The National Guard deploying helicopters to rescue people from the rooftops over in the city of Rock Valley. But really, to put this into perspective for you all, we spoke with our weather team. They're telling me this is an example of a 1 in a 1,000-year flood. Just for some perspective, an event like this might not happen for at least 0.1% in a given year. Gio?
Unbelievable. All right, Melissa, thank you so much. And let's go ahead and bring in Ginger with the forecast because it's not over yet for the Midwest. And she also has a look at whether there's any relief coming from this heat. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning to you, Gio. Those same areas could feel like up to 110 today as they deal with being evacuated from their homes in that very part of the country. So let's go ahead and talk about over the weekend, dozens of record highs tied or broken for the days from the west there in Merced, California to Philadelphia. Washington, D.C. and Baltimore had their first June 100-degree plus day in 12 years, so very early, as we kept saying, and the first official heat wave of the season here in New York City. Today, it's all about those heat advisories from that area that's flooded in parts of South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, including Jacksonville. So you still have the heat advisories in place. The records could fall from Lincoln to later this week back in Washington, D.C. So even if you get a little reprieve, you start to build it back. And George, I have to say that we look in the extended forecast. The Southeast and Mid-Atlantic look really hot going into the 4th of July. So the heat's not done.
Long summer. Okay, Ginger, thanks very much. The race for the White House now. And the countdown to the first presidential debate just 3 days away, with the race at dead heat in our 538 polling average. This could be the most consequential debate in decades. Our chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce and Rachel Scott, who's following the Trump campaign, are going to join us from Washington. Mary, let me begin with you. Weekend of prep at Camp David for the president.
Yeah, that's exactly right, George. The president this morning continues to be hunkered down at Camp David. He is fine-tuning his messaging, honing his attack lines, and preparing for, as you said, what is expected to be the highest stake moment in this rematch so far. Now, the president is expected to stay there at Camp David until the debate on Thursday. He's huddling there with over a dozen advisors, and over the coming days, his prep is expected to evolve from gaming out questions and answers to holding 90-minute mock debates. Now, the president knows, look, he needs a strong performance here. He knows voters are concerned about his age. We are told he's likely to be more pointed and punchier in his attacks against Donald Trump. And for months, the Biden campaign has suggested that Americans aren't really dialed into this race yet. That changes on Thursday night. This is the president's chance to engage a whole new audience and to really make clear what's really at stake here, George.
And Rachel, in the past, Donald Trump has not gone through traditional debate prep. What about this time?
Almost everything that President Biden is doing, Donald Trump is not. There are no mock debates. There are no rehearsed punchlines or pivot points. The former president also didn't take any time away from the campaign trail. He was out here in Washington, D.C. and in Pennsylvania. He was mocking President Biden for being at Camp David and meeting with his senior advisors, preparing for the debate. But we've also seen this change in tone from Donald Trump after months of attacking President Biden, attacking his mental fitness. In recent days, he's called him a worthy debater. And even though the former president was out on the campaign trail essentially saying that he has no debate strategy, in reality, he is preparing more than he is actually letting on. I'm told he's had more than a dozen informal policy sessions with current and past advisors as well as Republican allies, George.
Mary, this race has been deadlocked for months. Does the Biden campaign expect it to be a game changer?
That is certainly their hope. Look, the president's goal here is to hold Donald Trump accountable. He wants to remind voters of the chaos of the Trump presidency, and he is going to warn that there are even darker days ahead should Donald Trump win again. We know he is going to put abortion rights front and center. He's going to continue to argue that Donald Trump is to blame for overturning Roe versus Wade. He's going to say that Donald Trump is a danger to democracy. Again, hammer that point that Donald Trump has said that he will be a dictator on day one. But the challenge, George, for the president here is that he has to show that he can go after Trump without getting dragged into the mud with him. We all remember that extremely contentious, chaotic first debate of the last cycle. The president wants to avoid that, so he has to find a way to go after Trump, to land his punches, while also showing that he can be a steady leader, George.
Rachel, Donald Trump says he doesn't have a strategy. How about his campaign?
Yeah, well, look, his advisors are keenly aware that no one really benefited from that shouting match that we saw unfold last time around. And they also know, George, so much has changed since these last candidates saw each other, namely January 6th and also the former president's legal troubles. And so he's been on the campaign trail saying he would pardon the rioters that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. He's since been convicted of 34 counts of falsifying business records. They are preparing for those topics to come up on that debate stage, George.
Okay, Rachel, Mary, thanks very much. This Thursday night, you can watch the CNN presidential debate on ABC. It all starts at 8 Eastern with the ABC News special Race for the White House. Rebecca?
And George, it is sure to be an unusual night, but we'll be here covering it all. Okay, we turn now to the mass shooting at an Arkansas grocery store that took 4 lives and left nearly a dozen people wounded. We're learning new details this morning, and our Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas joins us with the latest on that. Good morning, Pierre.
Rebecca, good morning. Even though gun violence is down this year, the summer is still off to a deadly start. And this morning, yet another community is asking the question, why? Why does someone go into a place we all have to go, the supermarket, and start shooting?
This morning, the sad news that a 4th person has died in the mass shooting at that small-town grocery store in southern Arkansas. We're learning the names and seeing the faces of the victims. Among them, Ellen Strum, 81, Shirley Taylor, 62, Roy Sturgis, 50, and Callie Weems. Weems, a 23-year-old nurse and mother of a 10-month-old, died helping someone else.
She was shot while rendering aid to another gunshot victim. Instead of fleeing the store, she stopped to render aid in one of the most selfless acts I've ever seen.
Weems gave new meaning to the term Good Samaritan.
She loved people. She died a hero. She died a hero.
It all started on Friday afternoon when people were grocery shopping on what seemed like a typical normal day. Then shots started ringing out. Police say Travis Eugene Posey arrived at the store brandishing a pistol, 12-gauge shotgun, and draped with loads of ammunition. They say he began firing, first in the parking lot, then inside the store. After he exited the store, he was engaged by police who arrived within 3 minutes. So far, no clear motive.
There appears to be no personal connection to the shooter or any of the victims. He simply started engaging victims indiscriminately.
In all, 11 victims suffered gunshots, some of them critical.
The Arkansas shooting comes as a new FBI report released just moments ago provides a glimmer of hope. Active shooter incidents declined by 4% last year, and we're watching data this year showing mass shootings are down by double digits. With the summer just beginning, the Arkansas shooting is a reminder this kind of violence is now the American norm. George?
Sadly, that is true. Okay, Pierre, thanks very much. Now to the growing tensions between the U.S. and Israel. Over the weekend, Benjamin Netanyahu doubled down on his charge that the White House is withholding weapons. Matt Gutman has the latest from Israel.
This morning, even as Israeli bombs continue to pummel suspected Hamas targets in Gaza, Israel's prime minister, for the first time, saying the intensive phase of the war is about to end. In an interview on Israeli TV Sunday, Netanyahu saying the military's focus will now shift to Israel's border with Lebanon ahead of what could be an even bloodier confrontation with the powerful Iranian-backed group Hezbollah in Lebanon. The two have traded airstrikes and rocket attacks for 8 months. Israeli officials, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, are now in Washington lobbying for heavy munitions. That as the spat between Netanyahu and the White House seemed to escalate Sunday, with the Israeli leader doubling down on his accusation that the U.S. is withholding weapons, saying 4 months ago there was a dramatic decrease in munitions to Israel from the U.S., adding the decision to go public was due to a lack of change behind closed doors. And administration officials saying that the White House is not going to keep responding to the prime minister's political statements. In May, the White House suspended a single shipment of bombs out of concern they'd be used in the Rafah offensive. And over the weekend in the West Bank, disturbing video surfaced showing a wounded Palestinian man strapped to the hood of an IDF vehicle. The IDF saying in a statement the incident violated orders and standard operating procedures.
And the Israeli military telling us that that man was transferred to an ambulance. As for the spat over the pace of weapons to Israel, our understanding is that the U.S. hasn't slow-footed weapons to Israel, as the Israeli officials have been claiming to me for months. Rather, the White House has not expedited the shipments of weapons as it did in the beginning of the war. George.
Matt Cummins, thanks very much, Gio.
All right, switching gears now to the biggest events of the week. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour takeover, and the puck drops on Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, and that is the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Let's start with Victor Oquendo in Sunrise, Florida. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Gio. The two best words in sports, Game 7. Tonight, the Panthers are on the verge of their first title in franchise history, unless the Oilers can complete an historic comeback. Either way, the Stanley Cup Final gets decided tonight. Let's show you what happened in Game 6. Edmonton has all the momentum on their side right now, managing to even the series in front of their home fans, coming back from a 3-game deficit with the win on Friday night. Their best player, Connor McDavid, he was quiet throughout, but the rest of the team stepped up, beating the Panthers 5-1. So now Edmonton becomes the first team to tie the final after falling behind 3-0 in the series since 1945. And if they win tonight, only one other team has come back from the deficit to win it all, the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs. Those stats, they were all for you, George. It is do or die tonight. The puck drops at 8 p.m. right here on ABC. George.
Victor channeling a little Reeve right there.
Yes.
And it turned out to the concert event of the year. It hit London. And Lara, Taylor Swift never disappoints.
I mean, I did not think that there could be more buzz about Taylor Swift this summer, but her Eras Tour just continues to be the gift that keeps on giving. Next level in London. First, there were the selfie scene around the world. Prince William and Taylor both posting shots of their meeting backstage. His showing his two eldest children, Prince George and Princess Charlotte, with him and Taylor at her sold-out show in Wembley. And the photo she posted has an additional face in it. And I've learned there is a rather important significance for Swifties, at least. This is the first photo that she has posted of her and Travis Kelce on social media, which means the couple is now, as they say, Instagram official. Then last night, Taylor and Travis taking it one step further, showing the entire sold-out stadium how much fun they're having. Kelce on stage, dressed up in a tux, taking the place of one of her dancers for the beginning of her song, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, smiling ear to ear, even fanning himself when she slips out of that TTPD dress and shows her tiny two-piece costume for the number. Yes, on hand to watch it all. Sir Paul McCartney spotted singing along, as was his daughter Stella. Also there, John Bon Jovi, Tom Cruise. That's just to name a few of the many, many stars who are also Swifties. And London sure is happy to have Taylor back. Swift's 8 sold-out shows at Wembley will add £300 million approximately to the economy. That's $400 million US. That's a nice chunk of change.